Hello, I'm David Chaston with 989, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This is where you get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, including news of a slump in dairy prices in the overnight auction. Overall prices fell 8.9% in US dollars, down 8.7% in New Zealand dollars. The global dairy trade index has fallen below the 1,000 mark for the first time since January 2013 and is 35% below its recent February peak. Actually, it's 40% below in New Zealand dollars. These are substantial falls in only 23 weeks. Leading the race down was whole milk powder with an 11% drop since the last auction 2 weeks ago. Skim milk powder was down 7%, but butter and cheese were down less than 2% each. The slump was noticed on currency markets and the New Zealand dollar fell 0.5%. But there are other issues that had the focus of the currency markets. US retail sales grew less than expected and business inventories rose more than expected in data released overnight. At the same time, Janet Yellen was giving testimony to the US Congress, and she embellished her dovish credentials. She said American labour markets are far from healthy and signalled the Fed will keep monetary policy loose. She said she won't conclude the economy has recovered until wages start rising and discouraged workers return to the labour force. In China, new credit granted in June topped analyst estimates, supporting the view that policymakers there are more concerned about supporting economic growth than realigning their shadow banking sector. In Australia, there's been a backtrack of the earlier warning about the coming major El Nino event. It's no longer due, says their weather gurus, as the tropical Pacific is actually cooling. And the initial report from the Murray inquiry into the Australian financial systems was a pretty lame affair. Our swap rates are higher today, and in New York, yields on benchmark US Treasury 10-year bonds are unchanged at 2.54%. The recent oil price drop has continued, with the US oil price now under $100 a barrel and $106 for the Brent benchmark. Gold has dropped sharply again and is now under $1,300 an ounce today. We start today with the New Zealand dollar lower this morning against the US dollar and the yen on the dairy price slump, but the change is pretty minor. We are now at 87.6 US cents, 93.6 Aussie cents, and the TWI is just under 81.6. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.